I don't know about you, but I have noticed this tendency among language learners. We always tend to go for something difficult. Super smart words, reading smart books, and trying to learn difficult grammar. And at the same time, we overlook simple grammar, easy words, and easy books. Even when it comes to speaking and pronunciation practice, we don't have the patience to work on the sounds first, hone transitions between sounds, work on words, then sentences, connected speech, and intonation. We want to just start speaking like native speakers using fancy words and talking about theoretical physics straight away. I'm exaggerating, of course, but think about this. Also, back in the day when I hosted speaking clubs, I noticed that people think that they know how to talk about simple things like how their day went, about their family, their hobbies, their jobs, and they don't want to talk about that. They always say that it's too easy and that they won't need to talk about their day to anyone anyway. But in reality, this is usually the first thing you talk about when meeting your acquaintance or friend. You don't talk about politics or the book that you've read right off the bat. Again, usually. They don't want to waste that lesson on that. Or God forbid, repeat that lesson. Or the lesson about present perfect. Or conversation to solidify their knowledge. No. Who needs repetition? And that's why we can't have simple conversations. Apart from the obvious, of course. If you don't practice speaking at all, you can't speak and you can't have a simple conversation. So I suggest that you focus on easy topics and vocabulary and hone your communication skills in this area. Building a solid foundation first is key to successful communication later. If you have someone to practice with, awesome. If you don't, I recommend you sit and plan out your possible answers to those common small talk questions on paper and sort of memorize them. And then practice saying them without looking at your cheat sheet. You don't have to repeat the phrases word by word. You just need to have an approximate understanding of what you want to say. Mark my words, if you put this into practice, this will help you so much. Moreover, it applies not only to simple conversations, but also to conversations at work and work meetings. This veracity, the more you do something, the better you get at it, fits perfectly here. It's all a matter of practice. If you've never had simple conversations, how can you know that they are simple? If you've always brushed off those two basic words and have never used them, how can you expect to use them correctly or use them at all? And so not to just rant on, I'll give you an example. Look around you at your room and try to name every item in that room. Pause this video and try and let me know how you did in the comments. Those are the things that you see all the time, that you use all the time. For instance, I see a lot of stuff here. So I see a wardrobe, a yoga mat, my laptop, a coffee cup, a plant stand, plants, a vacuum cleaner, my phone, my mirror, pillows, and so on. I'm sure you'll be surprised that some things will be difficult for you to name. For instance, what do we call this? And this. Now try to describe my actions. So what am I doing here? Here. Here. And here. So, could you do it? Could you describe what I did without hesitation? Because this should be super simple. Now take a look at my actions again, but this time I'll tell you what these actions are called. I'm yawning. I'm fixing my hair. I'm scooching over. I'm throwing on a sweater. If that was easy for you, then you can try to answer these questions. What kind of home do you live in? Tell me a little bit about your home. Would you offer a tea or coffee to someone who comes to your home? Do you like parks? Why? Why not? Have you gone for a morning walk ever? How often do you take a break? What do you usually do during a break? Why do you need to take a break? So, how did you do? Did you manage to answer with full, open answers? Did you use at least a couple of sentences to answer each question? Was that easy? Let me know. Because this is what they ask during the IELTS speaking test at part 1, meaning the easiest level. It is a simple conversation in a way. They ask you questions and you answer. Such simple questions, right? But what they are looking for is not fancy words. They evaluate the way you speak. Can you speak without hesitation? Do you have the range of vocabulary to answer these questions? Can you make simple but clear sentences using that vocabulary to answer these questions? Do you know some phrases that would fit here? And are you using the right words at the right time to make the right meaning? If you use a fancy word but it doesn't fit, this is just going to compromise you. We can't, of course, go without listening here. To speak correctly, or let's just say coherently, you need to listen to native natural speech to know how to pronounce words properly and what to call things. I get it. You're an adult and you feel like talking about whether you prefer tea or coffee or about getting dressed is too simple and silly and a waste of time because you know that in your native language you can talk about more profound things. But honestly, based on my own experience, when I started speaking English with my son, I've discovered a terrifying truth. I couldn't explain and talk about the most simple things. I didn't have the vocabulary. Okay, guys, there you have it. Take whatever you need from the information I gave you, improve yourself, and till the next one. And don't forget to give us a like. Bye.